Hi. How you doing? How you be? Top to the AB. And do we have a lot to talk about? Yes. Do I know what about? Not really. But The Legend of Zelda Tears of the New Kingdom does have a new trailer for some reason, as well as my thoughts on the Ayaneo 2 after having it for a weekend, plus the Bell Case Belka 3. So we'll talk about a few of those right after this. Hi, I'm Anthony, and if you are new here, consider subscribing. We actually troubleshoot and help people with their technical issues and PC gaming issues, and subscribing will help us grow the channel and help more people. Thanks. Barim, how you doing? How you be? Top to the AB. Hope everybody had a good day at work. Hope everybody had a good day at school or church and or other. My name is Anthony, or The Open Forum, and here we are gaming adjacent. Essentially, we help people with their gaming issues, technical issues, PC issues, and the like. I was actually looking through a lot of these tickets. A lot of them look like L's, so we'll brace it for a really long day. But actually, this is a little bit shorter. Apparently, I have to still file my taxes, so I do apologize that this may be a little short compared to, you know, our usual days where we usually go like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere in that area. This may be a little bit shorter, but we do have a few things to discuss. The first thing being my thoughts on the Ayaneo 2, which is this guy here. Okay. So a few things that I learned about this guy. One, this guy here, that is still in good shape, ironically. I haven't broken it yet. One, it is gorgeous. I still like it. I still think that's crazy, crazy awesome. But one of the things that's kind of interesting is the battery life. So I game, okay, so if I do Call of Duty at 1080p or 1200p, now, what's interesting is I can do Call of Duty at 1080p if the Wi-Fi is really good. I can actually get low settings and actually get 60 frames per second somewhere in that area with Call of Duty. But a few things are with that. The first thing is the Wi-Fi really makes a big difference. However, it allows me to do things in places I never would have thought of. Like, for example, on weekends, I like to go out to eat and then I'll go to the movies. So while I'm waiting on my food, I can pull this out and like just play a game. And essentially what I was actually doing was I was actually playing this guy and getting caught up on like Harry Potter, what is it called? Hogwarts Legacy. So I'm still like in the actual Hogwarts. I haven't left the building yet, so I was still trying to get caught up on it. And I was able to play Hogwarts Legacy just fine. Then I went to the movie theaters and I was actually like 30 minutes early. I like to get there a little bit early and get my seat and all that kind of stuff, get situated, get caught up on NBA games and NFL games, stuff like that. And so I was sitting in my seat and I was literally playing Call of Duty while I was in my seat getting ready for a movie. Like, who does that? How cool is that? Because you could think like all of the reasons and things that a guy would need something like this, a handheld like this for. Like, you could think about like church. You could think about like going to like the mall and shopping for clothes. You know, like anything that's mundane, shoe shopping, anything that somebody drags you to, weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, anything that's not involving you personally, you can just bring this and just sit there and play, and everybody will look at you like they're crazy, but they look at you like you're crazy anyway, so it might be okay. And I was just enjoying the fact that I never really thought like I could go somewhere and play Call of Duty from there. Like, I've never, or Overwatch or whatever tickles your fancy, and be able to play it with relatively good settings at a good resolution and be able to play it in places like Starbucks, for example, like sitting around in Starbucks using their Wi-Fi and playing video games with just something like this, that it takes like a few seconds. All I gotta do is power it on and play whatever game that you're wanting to play. Like, that is powerful. That is very, very powerful. I want to do it on the Steam Deck, but the Steam Deck is so burly. It's like a bulky guy. It's like pulling out a Sega Game Gear from when you were 6. Like, it's just a very bulky thing. But this guy here is very, very compact, and most people think it's a Nintendo Switch anyway. I was like, oh, you're precious. This is not a Nintendo Switch, but thanks for thinking that it was. But most people think it's a Nintendo Switch or like a gamepad or some shit like that. So they'll think that it's like a Nintendo Switch, so they won't say anything, they won't ask any questions. They'll just accept it and be okay with it, right? And so I have people there asking me like, oh, what is that? Is that a Nintendo Switch? I was like, no. This is like a Nintendo Switch and a Steam Deck had a baby, and this would be the baby. So he was just joking about it. And I was talking about, you know, what we can do and how I review products and stuff like that, and all the stuff that you can do with it. And like, I can literally file my taxes on this guy and play video games while listening to music and get into a multiplayer game when I'm done playing video games. I mean, like, who does that? Like, how, like, I don't even know if I could have done that on Steam, because Steam, a lot of the games that I liked Steam didn't like. So like the Steam Deck does not like those games at all. So you know, I can play a multiplayer, I can play Genshin Impact, I can play Lost Ark, I can play Path of Exile, all of them, no problems. Also, there was a notice about Nier Automata having problems because it's not detecting a mouse. I did not notice that. I actually fired up Nier Automata because I actually bought the game, but I haven't played it yet, but I bought the game and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and try it and make sure that this guy doesn't have any problems with it. So far, so good. I have yet to run into a game that does not work on this guy, which is very, very good because I have a long extensive list of games and things that we tried and troubleshot and games that we bought to help people with their issues. So we got a lot of games. So I've tried, I'd say maybe like 20 or 25 games and they've all been fine. So not to worry, if you do decide to get something like this, it works out really well. So that's the first thing I want to go over, man. The possibilities of things that you can do. You don't have to be in your house to play video games anymore. So you think of a lot of people who like stream, or if you think of people who like to play video games a lot, you don't actually have to just play video games in one location anymore. You can go travel, you can go outside. I know that sounds foreign to me especially, but you can go outside, you can travel, you can go to the mall and stuff like that. As long as it's a place with good Wi-Fi, you may be okay, especially if you get like a really strong Wi-Fi signal. Like if you get something that's like 80 to 100 megabits per second and with good latency, by good, I mean low latency. If you get something like that, oh my goodness, you can play Call of Duty, you can play Overwatch, you can play whatever game you want to. If you're comfortable with like Xbox controllers and like, for example, PlayStation controllers, the only thing with it though that is a little, I wouldn't say it's annoying, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So if you look at this guy, right, you see this right here, right? So you have the joystick and then you have the thumb pad, right? Or the number pad, or what is it, number pad, diagonal pad, whatever, up, down, left, right? So Mortal Kombat, up, down, left, right? So you have this guy here. The problem is they're the same distance from each other. However, if you grab this to press something, like for example, if we switch here, let's go zoom in. So if we switch and if you grab it, typically if your thumb is here and your index is pressing here, your thumb is bigger than your index. So it's not, they're the same length from you holding it. So if I'm holding it here, if we look, you see that? You see how hard it is to get to? Because my thumb wants to be over here somewhere because that's more comfortable, but it's actually right here. So the only games that really affect that is Genshin Impact. And in any game where you typically use both the joystick, the left joystick, and the number pad, thumb pad, whatever you want to call it, diagonal pad, up, down, left, right. Any game that uses up, down, left, right, and the joystick. So the only things I can think of is like Mortal Kombat and Genshin Impact, right? Because Genshin Impact, that's how you swap your characters. And if you have a quick swap team, it can be a problem. However, it does, after you play with it a little bit, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It reminds me of, what does it remind me of? I know I've had controllers that are like that. I think it's actually like the Nintendo Switch, somewhere in that area. Because I was thinking like, I mean, I remember a Nintendo controller being like that, but if you look at the game controller, this guy doesn't have that problem, right? It's offset. If you look at the PlayStation controller, it's offset. You see what I'm saying? So even the up, down, left, right on the other side there, between that and the joystick is still offset. And the same thing obviously for the Xbox controller. So I don't really run into it until I got to this guy. And it's kind of, it's a little annoying, but it takes a getting used to. But overall, I'm okay with it. You see what I'm saying? Like, because if you think about like everything that's going on with it and everything that it can do for you, that is very minimal. So that's the only real gripe. That and the battery life. Battery life is interesting because I didn't have, okay. So here's the thing, right? So the way I was looking at it, right? I was like, okay, I knew that the battery life may be a little bit low. I knew it may be a little bit iffy, right? But the way I was looking at it, I was like, okay, well, every time I travel with a juice pack. So it's not that big of a deal, right? Because I need it, because I can work from anywhere. However, I have to be around at all times. So I was like, okay, well, I always have a juice pack, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. No, if you game at 1080p and you game with such high, like for example, at 22 watts or higher, if you game at that, you got a good hour and a half of battery life, right? At medium brightness, you have about an hour and a half of battery life. And what it will do is it will drain both batteries at the same time. So if you have like a USB-C It is not 65 watt passive display or power display or whatever the PD stands for. If it's not 65 watt for the USB-C external charger, then it'll actually drain both batteries. And what was happening was when I got it there, I was at 100%. By the time I got my food and was playing games for maybe like, I would say maybe 45 minutes or so, it was already at like maybe 60%, and my battery was like 3 of 5. So my external battery was 3 of 5. So it drains quite a bit of battery life. I could just tell just from that it only really had like 90 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but it didn't really have a whole lot of life to give. So bear that in mind as you get stronger than the Steam Deck, right? Because the Steam Deck is 15 watts. As you get stronger, the battery life decreases dramatically, okay? So if you do have plans on getting something like this, or the One X player, or the ROG Ally, which is even bigger, right? Because it is Ryzen 7040U, something in that area. Allegedly, I don't know for sure. That's just me speculating. RDNA 3 Zen 4, right? So if you look at that guy, that's going to be 1080p at 120 frames per second. So if you were actually trying to push that, obviously we already had a whole conversation about 120 frames per second being not ideal anyway. But let's say you were able to get like 80 or 90 frames per second at medium settings. Well, you're only going to get about like an hour to an hour and a half of battery life. It's the same size as the Ayaneo. So it's like, you know, you have to take that with a grain of salt that you always need some type of a battery pack. I wish for the ROG Ally, the Ayaneo, and this, well, maybe not necessarily Steam Deck, because Steam Deck is just way too big. But for this guy here, if they had, there used to be these accessories that you get on your cell phones that basically allowed you to attach it to like a battery pack to it. They're used to call Mophis, I think, Mophie juice pack. If they had something like that for this guy, where you can just attach it to the back, and then you would get more power and more battery life, I think that would be ideal, and not add a ton of weight. Maybe if it gave you an extra hour to an hour and a half, that would probably be the sweet spot. So those are my thoughts going into it. I don't have enough to create a review for it, but so far, so good. Okay, now that all that's out of the way, let's actually get into a few different things. So one, there is a new trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of a New Kingdom, or whatever it's called. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. It is kind of long. Bear that in mind. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna let it go for, but we'll see how it goes. It's so loud. Homie playing baseball. Link out here tatted up. Got his tattoos on now. Apparently he's an adult. Oh God. Not another mountain.
Zelda, we rely on your knight and that legendary sword he carries. Our last line of defense will be Link.
Link. I know why I am here. It's something only I can do.
Do not look away. You witness a king's revival and the birth of his new world.
Okay, let's go!
But you are not alone. Link. You are our final hope. Link. You must find me.
Yo, why Zelda in a trash bag? What happened to her? Why did y'all do to Zelda? Okay, all right, there's a lot to unpack there. One, I really feel like the Nintendo Switch has failed The Legend of Zelda because those graphics look, yeah, you know, I don't know. I just think of like games like The Witcher, right? Where would The Witcher be if it wasn't on PC? You know what I mean? Like if it was bound to Nintendo, just imagine how poor those graphics would have been while you're, you know, destroying people with magic abilities and drinking a bunch of potions. You know, I just wonder what it could have been, you know, because it's just like those graphics are starting to look more and more dated. Am I gonna buy it? Of course I am. Am I excited? Of course I am. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just those graphics, man. They just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think that I am excited. I think that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be an excellent game. It always has been. Zelda has never let me down. And so, oh, speaking of things that have never let me down, I was actually talking about this, right? So, the movie I went to go see was Winfield, right? And we were talking about this, having this conversation. It's like, why are you going to go see Winfield? Like, it's not even scary or anything like that. I was like, here's the thing. Nicolas Cage has never let me down. I can't think of a single movie that Nicolas Cage has been in that's been bad, right? I can think of other actors and actresses that have been in movies, you know, for like the pay cut, right? Or the paycheck. But I can never really think, like if I go back and think of all the Nicolas Cage movies that I've watched, I can't think of a bad one. They've all been good. And then I saw Winfield. Winfield, also good movie. It wasn't as good as like Con Air, but I mean, come on now. That's not even fair to compare it to something like a Con Air or like what other movies, Face Off. Like you can't, I can't compare any movie to Face Off, to be fair. So, you know, it's like those kind of movies. It's like it was such a good movie, or Nicolas Cage is such a good actor that all of his movies, like it's really hard to find a bad one. You know what I mean? So I had to give him the benefit of the doubt, and Zelda is the exact same way. And I feel like a lot of games and companies have been that way. Naughty Dog, to a point. Until they started letting everybody down, and then Blizzard, to a point. Until they released Diablo Immortal and pissed everybody off. But overall, though, I feel like there are certain companies that still don't let you down, and I feel like that's one of them. Zelda. So Tears of the Kingdom, I mean, it looks pretty cool. You know, I like the idea that the inhabitants are like chopping wood, playing baseball, chilling, sleeping. Even though they were doing that in the original one in Breath of the Wild, I think it was a little bit cooler that they were doing it here. So May 12th, I will pre-order like I always do. Speaking of which, I actually pre-ordered Breath of the Wild, and the case that comes with it actually fits with the Ayaneo for some reason. Ayaneo fits in the exact same cases that the Nintendo Switch. Go figure. All right, let's get to helping people. All right, let's get to work. So this is still on Call of Duty. Let's change it to Genshin. We haven't used Genshin in a while. I have to update these. I'll probably update them this week. I do have some extra videos to put on there now that that the weekend happened. So I'll update these here pretty soon. But let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, yeah, so let me take this off so I can actually hear. Alright, so crazy Wi-Fi issue. This is a repeat. Okay, cool. So they said my MacBook Pro 2017 Ventura 13.2.1 can't connect to the internet through my family's Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi's MacBook Air 2012 can. I remember this. And we were talking about a lot of different settings, and I was giving them issues on what to do. So he said, I was like, hey, just go ahead and basically they weren't able to pull an IP address. They were getting a 169. And I was like, okay, well, go ahead and give it a static IP address so that you can get onto the internet. And then, you know, because they've already tried to reboot their router and other things. So he said he tried it, but it didn't work. But now it's even worse. Now I don't even have the overlaid exclamation point. It appears as if my computer is connected to the internet, but I cannot actually reach the internet. Crazy. So after about an hour successfully, unsuccessfully poking around, I think it is related to my MacBook's proxy settings. Oh, okay, so he has a proxy turned on. My MacBook seems to be automatically setting up proxies, but I don't know why they are different for mine than the other devices in the household. I have a VPN GUI software for my VPN, but I don't have any other time I ever set up proxies that I know of. Well, there are certain VPNs that can set up proxies. There are certain VPNs that can install proxies that you may need to go to prior to you reaching the VPN. So that's a possibility, but you should be able to disable the proxy and remove all the static IP information above, and that should get you connected. It's kind of interesting. It's rare that we talk to people that talk about proxies. You know, you don't really run into that into the commercial field, but for those of you who aren't aware what a proxy is, a proxy essentially it allows you to hit something before you hit something else. So for example, all your traffic goes through the proxy before it goes somewhere. So if you think about a VPN, VPNs work as if they were a proxy, where essentially you send your traffic to a location and it comes out that location. So basically your IP will look like it's sourced from that location. It's by proxy. So that's essentially how that works. So in this particular situation here, it appears that he may have some proxy settings, which is something that you don't really see in the residential world, but you see all the time in the commercial world. And basically, if he removes those proxy settings, that should help him out as well. I was just thinking that maybe he had an issue with DHCP and maybe that was causing it. So let's just remove DHCP from being an equation or being a factor. But because he was saying he thinks that's a proxy issue, that could also be a problem as well. So let's go ahead and continue. This isn't an L. This is more of an assist at this point, but we'll see how it goes and see what he says before we actually render a conclusion. I'm not going to prematurely give myself an L when I don't deserve it. We'll see how it goes and then go from there. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. All righty, this is from Foreign Food. Help, please. I wanted to play some games in the summer, but my PS3 doesn't work, but it works fine on my friend's TV. I remember this. So basically, he was having an issue with his PlayStation, and if y'all want to see this. So, an available HDMI device was detected. Do you want to output the video and audio using HDMI? He hits yes. And it tells him it hates him and doesn't turn back on. I think that's what happened. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember from my head. Okay, so yeah, he goes to weak or no signal. That's what it was. Okay, so whenever he tries to connect up, it goes to weak or no signal. He said, okay, so first things first, what you want to do is go to the settings of the PS3 while it's in your friend's house and set the settings display. Here, change the resolution to 720p at 60 frames per second, then take it back home, hook it up to the Hisense, see if it gets you a picture when you hit yes. If you do, then bump the settings to 1080p 60 FPS and see if that works. Hey, I tried it but still didn't fix it. Can you suggest some more settings? Of course. That's what we do here. Of course. It's kinda what we do. Okay, so do you have more than one input on the Hisense? Okay, maybe I should elaborate. More than one HDMI input on the Hisense. I'm sorry. More than one HDMI input on the Hisense. Also, do you have a second TV in the home? We could also test that accepts HDMI. We want to make sure that we keep it as HDMI because he is testing a PlayStation and PlayStation only has HDMI. So we'll keep it like that and see what happens if he plugs it into a different input on the Hisense as well as plugging it into a different TV altogether. That way we can get an idea if it's just the Hisense and then kind of go from there. If it's just the Hisense, then you can't really do a whole lot outside of going back to factory default settings and seeing if that fixes it, because it's hard to know what steps you need to take on that device without ever having said device. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes, and then have him just reach back out to us if he still has problems. Okay, Mr. Foreign Food, keep us posted. Alrighty, this is from Tachi on Zero. Welp, I need a little long SFF case. Yeah, that is a very long graphics card, and that happens a whole lot. You are not alone, good sir. And that right there, yeah. Yeah, I've done that before, where I purchased a graphics card and it ended up being longer than the case. It happens a lot, especially if you're an SFF enthusiast. It happens like all the time. So, well, ever heard of an extension, a PCIe extender? Yeah, you could try that. I don't recommend it though. Going with a PCIe extender outside of the case just so your graphics card will work, that seems a little bit excessive, but that would be kind of cool if you were able to do something like that and not make it look terrible. Like for example, like this right here would probably be better off in an eGPU and you just hooking it up to this guy instead of, you know, maybe even buying a new chassis. Mostly because the eGPU can work with a laptop and a desktop, but that's just me talking and chirping, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I still like its build. I mean, it's nice, but yeah, you're not going to be able to use it with that case. Maybe the NZXT, what is it? H1? NZXT H1? Yeah. Maybe something like this, the H1. Maybe that may work because it may be long enough to actually fit it. But well, it's long, it's tall, so maybe tall enough to actually fit it. But yeah, not in that particular SFF case, unfortunately. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. So this is from Marak Khalifa. And they write, oh God, this is really long. A bunch of text is what they wrote. Okay. So I have about 2 issues, heat and fan noise. I have a 3700X as my CPU. Oh, hey, y'all like that poster back in the back there? I finally put it up. I was gonna wait and not put it up, but I figured out something in order, because what was happening was, so like, for example, this guy back here, Goku, as well as this guy, Vegeta would fall, right? So these right here, if anybody wants to know what they are, they're called displays. So basically they are posters, but they're metal. So they're very, very sturdy, obviously. They're just they're 4 sheets of metal, and you kind of put them up in order to form the picture. And they give you like this adhesive backing for you to mount it to your wall. The problem is, if you live in the South, Texas, Florida, Atlanta, so on and so forth, the heat and moisture makes it so that it goes flat off the wall, especially if your wall is textured, it'll drop. And this guy is metal. If it falls on an outlet, I read that it can close the circuit and then cause a short and basically blow out your electronics. So you have to be very, very careful. So this guy kept falling and it kept annoying me. So I bought some extra stickers from Displate so that I have extra ones to put on. But even then, it was still falling. I had metal plates that had 4 stickers on it and still fall. So I figured out that you could actually just drill holes inside of the stickers and now they stay up. So because they were able to stay up and it was so much easier and I don't have to worry about it falling anymore, I now put the Goku poster, which is back over here, I now put that guy up. Because you see that outlet right there that's right next to that chair? I was worried that if it fell, it might fall on that outlet and close the circuit and therefore cause a problem. That's the reason why I never did it. But now that I know that it's like nailed in and you can't really make it drop, now it's up. So, so just a fun fact about these updates that I be trying to do here. All right, so back to this while am I procrastinating? Slightly, but this is going to be a very long read, so let me get ready. All right. He says, I have about 2 issues, heat and fan noise. I have a 3700X as my CPU and a 5600 XT as my GPU. I built this back in November 2020, so it's been about 2.5 years. Writing this now, my CPU is at 49 degrees. If I open up an application like Wallpaper Engine, it spikes up to 60 degrees and then goes back to normal. During startup, when the computer is opening all of my startup apps, it spikes to 70 to 75 degrees. I feel like this is wrong. I have no clue what temps are in gaming since I haven't played in a long time. Overall, it seems the CPU temps never go below 49 degrees Celsius and goes to 70 quite often. That's really not that big a deal. This issue connects with my fans. I don't know whether I have crappy CPU fans, PC fans, but they are so annoying. I use the stock Ryzen 3700X CPU cooler. Oh, okay. So he's talking about the 3900X. I know what that is. That is that's not a bad CPU cooler. It's called Wraith. It's called the Wraith, and the Wraith isn't bad. I'll show you. Ryzen Wraith cooler. Yeah, it's this guy. This guy's really good, by the way. I have this in 3900X, or even though I'm not using it for anything, I'm not using a whole lot, so it doesn't have to work all that hard. But this guy is really good. I mean, it's really, really good. So if he's talking about the Wraith, this guy is great. Like, I really like it. It's not the best, don't get me wrong, but it's good enough. It gets the job done. But in any event, and I said, so overall, it seemed the CPU never goes below 49 degrees Celsius and goes to 70 quite often. The issue connects with my fans. I don't know whether I have crappy CPU fans, or PC fans, but they are so annoying. I use stock Ryzen 3700X CPU cooler, the one that has RGB, and I bought a pack of 4 fans off Amazon for a cheap price. And like I said before, my CPU temp spiked to 65 to 75 degrees very often. Writing this is just spiked to 70, but of this, my fans start spinning at faster RPMs and they get so loud for no reason. Yeah, having loud fans while gaming is normal, I guess, but doing homework on Chrome shouldn't make my PC turn into a jet engine. The level of noise of fans while spiking is equivalent to my PC while gaming, so it bothers me a lot while doing work. What could be done for the solution? I've thought of replacing the stock CPU cooler with replacing the fans, undervolting, etc. If I should replace the stock CPU cooler and fans, what should I go for? I don't care about performance, I just want some peace. Okay. Well, a lot of... Oh, I can't see that, I'm so sorry. A lot of this depends on what case you use and what is your budget. But yeah, the fans won't, the cheaper fans typically spin at louder RPMs. That's why they're cheaper, you know what I mean? So that's going to be a part of it, but you may not have to replace the fans if you just replace the CPU cooler, but you may not need to replace the fans if you simply replace the CPU cooler. Let me know the specs of your PC and I can recommend one. There we go. So, you know, with something like that, you know, there's no point. I know a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, just go with the Noctua NHD 14 or something like that, but I don't know this man's budget. And, you know, and I don't want to make any assumptions. So it's best just to go ahead and ask and figure out what kind of case he has, because I would hate to say a cooler and then it not fit in his case. Like the Noctua doesn't fit in any of the small form factor cases except maybe like 2. So because of that, you don't really want to give him an answer, like a definitive answer right then and there, because the last thing you want is that man to go buy something based off what you said and then it not work or not fit, and now he's upset. You see what I'm saying? So just go ahead and ask him and see what kind of case he has, and then just kind of go from there. Alrighty, mira, keep us posted. All right, so this is another repeat. Gigabytes, I'm not about to read all this, but I'm just about to abbreviate. Gigabytes of storage space being eaten by Xbox One, advice wanted. I cleared up 150 gigs of storage space in order to download a game, which is Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's at 130 gigs if space required. And so he removed 150, but the game he's trying to add is 130, and I was like, 20 gigs is probably not a big enough buffer because there may be updates and stuff like that may go with it. And so he said, thank you, I'll try that today and see if allowing for a 20 gigabyte buffer helps. Allowing for? You might be right. I tried to re-download Final Fantasy 13 to test it out on another game, and it dropped from 130 gigs of storage space to 40 gigs within a minute of downloading. I think the console does hold space on reserve. Yep, sounds like it. I would just give it another 80, well, I say 50 to 100, another 50 to 100 gigs, since it's an MMO. That should be plenty. let us know if you have any further questions. Hooray. Got a dub. Let's go ahead and let him know about our information real quick. Let me just open up OneNote. Copy and paste to our friend here as soon as I realize which tab I'm on, and place this plain text. All right, and that is our first W. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the fans and everybody attending. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I am so happy that we finally got a W today, even though I feel pretty bad about what's probably going to happen after this. So far, so good. So we'll take that. All righty, and we're just finishing up Group 1. Let's go ahead and go up to Group 2, and let's get it cracking. All right, let me take a swig here. All right, let's do this. Group 2, Xbox. So we're on to Xbox here. How do I do this? Or how do I fix this? Okay, I remember this. So we were talking about this guy with the whole Modern Warfare thing, and it was basically giving him an error. I think at one point in time we had somebody on the actual chat that actually explained what this was and this error, but we could just go back for what we was talking about here. And we was like, hey, yes, all packs need to be installed in order to play different game types with Call of Duty. And then we had also mentioned, okay, so does it generate an error when it kicks you back out to the main screen? Can you show us a picture of what happens or a video? I'll post a video soon on r/Xbox Series X with what is happening. Did he post a video or? No, this is fine. Oh, I meant here, but that's fine. Also, have I already asked him to uninstall, reinstall? How many times have we been talking? Let me see. Any day now. Any day now. Oh, something popped up. That's what happened. Okay. View all comments. Okay. I just re-downloaded the entire game and most things are fixed. Now the normal title screen appears and I can't play multiplayer, but when I want to play campaign or spec ops, I get sent back to the intro screen. Okay, so when he tries to play certain games, it still kicks him back to the intro screen. Okay, it doesn't generate an error. Then I asked him about anything about his network. You still having issues? Connect your Xbox wired. My Xbox is always connected to the internet. I think I might have a solution. I delete the entire game and I'm going to re-download it to see if the pack did appear. Okay, so okay. I'm sorry, I can't even type for some reason. Any day now? No, not gonna let me type. No. Okay, reply. Can I type now? What is going on? I lost the ability to type. Okay, this thing is so broke. Any day now. Come on, we have stuff to do. Here, we'll try this. Oh, here, let's try this. Copy, paste. Huh. Okay, so for some reason it's not detecting my keyboard. Give me 1 second here and let me go ahead and just plug it in wired. Maybe it's dead even though it shows the battery to be green. No, it's not dead. It's like it's pressing something. Okay. I wonder if the other ones do the same thing. No, I can type in the others. Ah, there we go. Okay, that was weird. I'll post a video soon. Okay. Was hoping you would post it here. Oh, I'll say it like that. Okay. Thought you were going to post here, but that works too. Also, what is this? Is this a Final Fantasy? Oh no, this is a Call of Duty error. Also, how much disk space do you have available? I am Every time, okay, so every time you open up Call of Duty, it tries to download an update. So I'm thinking that he may not have enough space to accommodate it and only enough space to actually download the base game. Every time you open that game, it likes to update. So I am thinking you are running low on disk space. Okay, so just go ahead, just asking him. Now you can point him in the right direction. Obviously we can, but it seems like he's already been working this and we've kind of gone back and forth on a few different things here. So if we wanted to, I suppose we can let him know that we can just go to settings, but most people know how to get to their like for example, he can go to my games and apps, or he can go to settings and then he can go to system and then of course storage devices, and here he can actually see it. So either one is fine. Okay, thought you were going to post it here, but that works too. Also, how much disk space do you have available? Every time you open that game, it likes to update. So I am thinking you are running low on disk space. Edit. We'll go ahead and add it. You can see this by going to settings, system, disk space. Okay. So just let him know how to get there just in case he does not know. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go to our next one here. Okay, obviously this is something I broke. And okay, this is just a new tab. That's the wrong thing. Yeah, leave. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is a new one. Hey, a new one about time. All right, so this one says, can't connect to Xbox One S controller to gaming PC. I cannot connect my Xbox One S controller to my gaming PC despite the fact that I have a wired USB cable. The controller will vibrate as soon as I plug it into the USB cable, but I then have to press the main button. But when I do, the controller just flashes on and off. Any help would be nice. Thanks. Okay. Okay, so are you plugging into a front port or rear port? Depending on which one, swap it and try the other side. Also, is it going into a USB 3 or 2 header? What else I want to say on that? Let's see. If the Xbox One S controller is not able to work properly, controller will vibrate as soon as I plug it into the USB one. I press a button, but when I do, the controller just flashes on and off. So it basically turns itself off because it's not able to establish a connection. So yeah, I'm thinking that he may also need to try a different cable. Also, could you try a different USB cable and let us know how that goes? See, in fact, he's new. I'm just gonna be like, hey, just let us know how it goes. That way, you know, he knows to reach back to us. That way we can continue troubleshooting with them. Alrighty, let's go to the next one here. And of course, it's a black screen because I broke everything apparently when I was just trying to get one screen to work. Ooh, fancy. So check this out. Loving my new Mini ITX and the Neo G9 setup combo. Wow, that is a gigantic monitor. It takes his entire desk and it doesn't even care. It doesn't even want to apologize. You should apologize for taking up this man's entire desk space and then some. But I mean, hey, it's still a pretty sweet build. I always wanted to know what it feels like to actually be like use a G9 or something that's that big and be able to see it, to see if I can actually see targets that are like in the side or the corners, because I feel like my eyes, by the time I move over to that person, I'm already dead and respawning. You know what I mean? Because it's Call of Duty. So I just worry that my eyes can't scan the entirety of this, but it being curved should definitely help. My new build running ready or not on the Neo G9 beautifully. Regarding the setup, I have the Cooler Master NR200P with a 3080 Ti and 7700X, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 2 terabyte or two 1 terabyte M.2s. For peripherals, I have a Razer Huntsman and Lamzu Atlantis, as well as a SteelSeries XL mouse pad. Nice build, bro. Congrats. Nice build, bro. Congrats. I mean, it looks nice. Looks really, really nice. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Okay, so this was the whole thing with the decode thing where we had to actually explain how router, like a stitch network works with multiple access points. And where we had left off is I said crud, well, they look fairly easy to move around. Why not just move the one that ends up being the master every time to where you want it to be and replace the other unit that's already there? See, the master doesn't change, but one slave, let's call it that, but more straightforward than Satellite's LMAO, just connects to the other slave instead of directly to the master. If I'd move the master unit, I could just as well pull cables everywhere, as the master is the one with the Ethernet cable plugged in. Oh, okay. Well, if that's what's stopping you, then an Ethernet over power adapter may work for your situation. But it doesn't change the fact that, let's call it that, just connects to the other slave instead of directly to the master. If I move the master unit, I could just as well put cables everywhere. I could just as well pull cables everywhere, as the master is one with the Ethernet connection. Well, if that's what's stopping you, then an Ethernet over power adapter may work for your solution. However, just with simply running a cable elsewhere do the two slaves connect properly? So yeah, just trying to get an idea of what they do when the master's not there, right? So if they're trying to have a stitch topology, what happens if you move the master somewhere else? What happens to the two slaves when one of them try to become the master? Because if so, that's a true cluster situation, where if one member leaves, they'll have a re-election, and the master, the person who gets the master role, then becomes the master, the other one becomes one of the slaves. So that's essentially what you would do, and that's essentially the order of operations when trying to configure a cluster. So, but even though we're not talking about a cluster here, it's the exact same principle. So we just take that and we apply it here in order to get an idea of what we need to do next here for his particular situation. But it's really hard to kind of get an idea if he's talking about that the two slaves are connected to themselves instead of to the master. But if you go further away, will they have a re-election? And if so, then that's a true cluster and we can start talking about it, but we'll see how it goes. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, so a cluster firewall. So a cluster is a collection of devices. So like, for example, images. Okay, this works. So you see these, well, actually, no, this is a switch, because a switch, I don't want to even create that confusion, because a switch would actually be called something totally different. It'd be called BSS. So if we talk about just two firewalls here, right? All right, so this right here, okay, well, this, okay, so this is a cluster. I was making sure that it wasn't HA, but yes, this is a cluster. So basically what a cluster means is that basically it is a combination of firewalls. So basically they join together to create one, or they join together to create one router, or they join together to create one switch, so on and so forth. So basically that's what it means. However, they have certain properties. So instead of one being enabled and one being disabled, they're both enabled for the same time for different types of traffic. And that's essentially what you would do for a cluster. So in his particular situation here, if it's creating a cluster between the master and the two slaves, then it may be possible that a re-election may occur if the master was to move away or turn off or something along those lines and get to something that's a little bit more comfortable, because you can't have two slaves. One of them has to go master in the event that master is not detected, is what I was referring to. But we'll see how it goes. I'm troubleshooting it as if it was a networking issue, but it may be something else, but we'll see. But this is a good test just to make sure. If that's what's stopping you, okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next person here. This is from Seven Mosses. My laptop is crashing and has visual problems. Okay, I got you. Alrighty, and y'all don't need to see all this text. I'm so sorry. That was crazy. Y'all didn't need to see all that. Let me do this, because me trying to play audio is silly background stuff. Let's do right there. Okay. So this one here, it says, my laptop has been crashing and has had dots and lines all over the screen. Letters are elongated and disfigured. Everything I try seems to not work. Any help would be greatly appreciated. The laptop is an Acer Aspire E14, E45, 473. I'm about to read all that. It has an NVIDIA 940 GPU. It was dropped on a carpet floor from about 2 to 3 feet, so that could be it. But want to make sure all programs not requiring 3D seems to work fine, but with the aforementioned messed up letters and dots. Laptop is crashing and has dots and lines all over the screen. Okay, so dots and lines can be graphical, but it can also be memory related. So dots and lines can be graphical, but it could also be memory related. Let's see. Could be graphical, but it could also be memory related. What happens if you open the, okay, I can't spell open the back and reseat the memory? Does it make a difference? Yeah. So just kind of get an idea of what happens. Obviously, we can't do anything with the CPU and GPU because this is a laptop. So because of that, we have to change things up and just ask, hey, you know, for the dots and lines, what happens if you open the back and reseat the memory? So basically, or the bottom of the case, and just reseat the memory there and see if that actually fixes the issue, because it's possible the memory could have been jarred loose and that may be the problem. Alrighty, that is the end of group 2, my people. Let's go ahead and go to the group 3. Let me get a swig here. All right, group 3. Okay, PS5 bug with God of War. Okay, let's take a look at this here. God of War Ragnarok. Yes, that is a game. A very good one. My guy said nope. Okay, gotcha. When I open up God of War Ragnarok on my PS5, the resolution seems to drop to 1080p on the home screen and then goes back to 1440 when it's not running. And I said, no, never ran into that issue like that. However, I would say this would be to uninstall and reinstall the game to see if that resolves the issue. What resolution is your monitor running at? You can see this by going to settings, screen and video. Monitor is running 1440p. Funny thing is that the game still runs at that resolution. It's just the home screen that goes down to 1080p. It's not a big issue. I was just curious if anybody else noticed it. Monitor is running at 1440p. It's just that the home screen that goes down to 1080p. So the home screen goes down to 1080p, but when you go into the game, it goes back up to 1440p. Okay. Resolution seems to drop to 1080p on the home screen and then goes back to 1440p when it's not running. Well, what happens if you change all screen and video settings to 1440p? 40p. Yeah. So basically, if you change all your settings and change all screen and video settings to 1440p, does that work, or is the startup screen still 1080p? If it is, there's not a whole lot we can do here, you know, and on top of that, I don't think they're too concerned about it either. But in this particular situation here, if we're talking about at the startup screen, you're at 1080p, but in the actual game, you're at 1440p, it could be like a resolution mismatch somewhere where somebody still has it set up improperly. And then, you know, you kind of have to go from there. But this is probably one of the better ways to ask about it, you know, just like, hey, you know, what happens if you change all screen and video settings to 1440p? Will that give you an issue, or will that work? And just kind of go from there. Okay, Clutch, keep us posted. Okay, and this is from I am generic. And they write Devil May Cry 3 crashes, which is horrible. We can't have Devil May Cry 3 crashing. There we go. I tried installing Devil May Cry 3. Okay, I remember this. So this is the guy that was talking about the whole DMCS3, essentially the application, and it was having problems in DMC3 SE. Yeah, it was having problems with the application and it wasn't working properly, and yeah, it kept crashing the game. So I said, okay, how about you, or how are you playing it? Is it on Steam? There are certain options on Steam we may be able to try. And I said, yeah, it sounds like the game would be corrupted, but the CD you got it from install, not too many more options we can go with on this guy since it's just a CD install. Well, I did end up getting it fixed. All I did was install a patch for the game, the 1.3 patch. Well, that is an L. Ah, gotcha. Glad you were able to figure it out. Let me know if you have further questions. All right, so we'll go with that. This, call it what it is. Boom. It is an L. Yes, I'm crying. Please give me a tissue. So if there's, was there anything that I could have done better on this one, right? So when we go back over it, you know, and we're talking about Devil May Cry crashing, you know, and he's saying that he was able to fix it by updating a patch, but he said it was on his Windows PC, installing a patch for the game. Oh, okay, so he installed a game patch, but he didn't install any other type of patch. He was just talking about on the game itself. So yeah, so he just updated the version settings, but I don't really know if I can be mad about that. You know, there's no real way to know which patch it needs to be on without actually being on that patch or having a device that was already on that patch. So there's not a whole lot we can say about this one, so we'll probably just let this one go. I'm okay with letting this one go. This is what they call a forced error. Oh no, unforced error. So we'll just let that happen here, and we'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. Take our L like a champ. So far, we are at 0. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. All right, so this one says from Riku. Hey, I think he means Riku and Kairi, but Riku in any event. How would you feel if the next Nintendo console would abandon the Joy-Con design? If the next Switch ends up being a more powerful Switch like we all want, with upscale 4K docked and 60 FPS / 120 FPS and 1080p 60, portable but was designed more like a Steam Deck, or Switch Lite, meaning that you can't attach or detach Joy-Cons, how would people take it? I think that's a pretty good way for them to get rid of the drift problem since they are so small. They also still love it by putting a stand to the device and lets you connect other connectors or controllers to it in case you want to play tabletop mode with other people. Would you guys like it? How often do you take out your Joy-Cons to play with someone else in table mode? I personally never use that feature, so I wouldn't care. Okay, so to answer this one here, okay, here's what he's talking about. Let me grab it real quick. I don't know why. I don't know why, but that was really hard to get to. So basically he's talking about this, right? These Joy-Cons and having them detached, you know, and trying to play with them detached. I never liked it because the buttons are too small. This has a very similar feature. This is what I was thinking of when I was thinking about the Ayaneo. So it's this whole situation all over again, right? So when you look at the Ayaneo and you look at this guy, you know, they're the exact same thing, where Ayaneo on the right, on the your right, my left, and then on this guy here, it's the exact same thing. That's what I don't like. I don't like that because your thumb and your index finger aren't like that. Therefore, I don't like that. So the way I feel about it is the same way he feels about it. Where I'm just like, you know, I mean, I wouldn't care if they came out with a device that actually did not use the Joy-Cons. But I think Nintendo as a company, they were so proud of this. I remember when that launched and they were like, click, 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 click. Are you hearing it now? Has it been nuanced in your head so that every time you hear this sound, you think of Nintendo Switch? Click, click. Are we done yet? Do you still think that it's the Nintendo Switch? I said, click, click. And they were just so gung-ho about it, you know? It's hard for me to think that they would actually strafe from it. I feel like ideally for Nintendo, if they do come out with a new one that's more powerful, it would probably still use the exact same Joy-Cons. I feel like the way they feel is there's no reason to reinvent the wheel when you've perfected the wheel from the Wii to the Wii U to the Switch, right? Because all the Switch is an evolution of the Wii U. They were already going in that direction. Instead of now of it being, you know, an actual device plus a gamepad, it's just a Switch, which is the gamepad section. So basically they just kind of evolved from there. So you know, if they try to regress and go back to the whole gamepad situation, you know, they could. I just don't see them doing it now that they've created such a well-known product, a well-liked product, except for the fact that the graphics are terrible. So, you know, I just don't see Nintendo doing that. I think that they're going to probably take this guy until the wheels fall off, because I feel like they feel that these controllers are awesome minus the whole drift situation. So I don't think, I don't believe, let's say it that way. Whichever way that doesn't get me sued, I don't believe Nintendo has a plan to get rid of the controllers, seeing the fact of how they are so widely liked. But I'm with you. I'm not much of a fan of them anyway, since they are so tiny. Yeah, they're super tiny, man. It's hard for you to actually even get in. I remember when like Switch first launched and I had like Smash Brothers, and I was trying to play Smash Brothers with the actual Joy-Cons, and it's awful. I didn't like it. I didn't like having one in one hand and one in the other hand. It's not connected and you have to play them separately. And it felt weird. I wasn't crazy about it. Even now, I'm not really crazy about the controllers, even though I have, you know, the ones that came with the Switch. It's just, you know, I just don't see a point. You know, I think that if they're gonna go with the controllers for the next gen and just make it stronger and make it 4K, that would make it so that it gets released earlier than normal, because there's no R&D, right? All you have to do is figure out the whole 4K situation, and then you can use the exact same Joy-Con. So I don't think they have plans on reinventing the wheel for this particular one. Good question though. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. This is from Store Weekly 307043. PC randomly freezing. This is a repeat. I'm only gonna read a little bit of it. Well, so I don't know what's going on, but it's really annoying. My PC gets completely frozen randomly and nothing works. My cursor doesn't move. And we've been going back and forth on this one here. And I said, fun fact, I run a live stream called TheOpenForum, blah, 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 where we troubleshoot these issues. And 4 groups ago, we had a guy with exactly the same problem after opening Discord. Oh, I remember this. So basically, whenever you open Discord, it was crashing the game, and we had him try to do a few things, but he haven't gotten back with us. Then talked to one of my friends, and then I just started playing with them, and after a few minutes my PC froze for the first time. We are also thinking he may need to update the BIOS, so if you don't use Discord, then that would fix it as well. But if you have plans on using Discord again and it crashes your computer, then try the BIOS update to see if it works. Okay, that's interesting. I'll watch it later, and well, thank you so much for the help. Yes, sir. I'm not sure if I gave myself a W, but I'm okay with giving myself a second one. Thank you so much. I am so glad that we got a second W today, even though we may have actually used that previously, but we'll see. You know, I don't want to give myself unnecessary W's, but I still give myself a W, whatever. But I think that this is pretty much a W, and I think we're done here. I think this is one of those ones that we were reserving our W so that we'll need it whenever we have like 8 L's. And this is a time that we're going to go ahead and call it, because I feel like I got some L's coming up. So let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Though so far so good. It's not as good, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Okay, so the way these questions come into me, right? The repeats. Is they come in on an email, and on the email, you only see a section of it, right? So that section is going to be like, that didn't work. So I'll be like, do you have anything else? Or that didn't work. This doesn't work at all. This is a horrible idea or something like that. So you only see a small section. You don't see the entire conversation. And I don't want to, right? I want to be surprised and shocked when it brings more value to the stream. So I would normally just wait and see exactly what these topics say, but I do have some idea of what they're about. Just like knee jerk, you know, whether or not it's about Xbox, PS5. I don't actually read them though, because I feel like the way I feel about my technical abilities is that it doesn't matter what anyone asks me. It doesn't matter if we're talking about firewalls or routers or switches or computer devices or consoles or Xbox or PS5s or anything really. As long as it's technical related, I feel like there isn't an issue that I can't troubleshoot. Therefore, if I take an L, I take an L and I learned from it. But I feel like by the time this is all said and done, or by the time, you know, this starts to build and create more people and more people want to watch it, I feel like there isn't going to be an issue that somebody can ask me that would throw me. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times people get nervous about those kind of things. Like me personally, I am an ultimate studier when it comes to like learning and stuff like that. I will actually go in a cocoon and literally study the entire time. That's how I roll. That's always been me. However, with these kind of technical issues and the issues that we troubleshoot, at some point, you got to start going from learning to teaching at some point, right? Because if not, you'll be a student for the rest of your life. You see what I'm saying? Because there's always something more to learn. At some point, you have to give back. You have to help others. You have to let other people get into those kind of positions. Maybe somebody, you know, they can't afford to go to college, and maybe college is too expensive. They don't want to go into debt. I get that. And maybe they just want to, you know, listen to a stream, watch a person play video games or record playing video games and learn tech so they can get into the technical field and get a job. You see what I'm saying? That's what makes me happy. I feel like that's what I really enjoy. I want people who watch this stream to not only learn something, but also, you know, chill, play video games, relax, chill, as well as learn something that would actually help them in the future. That way, if somebody like their girlfriend busts in and be like, hey, why are you watching streams? You need to be getting a job. It's like, whoa. This man is teaching me how to troubleshoot tech. I am getting a job, and you need to get off my back about it. That's how I feel about this channel. I feel like that's where we're going with things, that we want to help people grow and be able to get into those fields and you know, proceed and prosper. Like I've never been the type to always want to compete with somebody. Like that was never really my goal. My entire life, my entire career, I have always been support. Whether it's in video games, I've always been a healer or a tank, or if we're talking about real life, I've always had multiple technologies that I've always been into. I don't care if you turn out being better than me at tech. My thing is, did you learn something? Did you gain something? Did it help you? Did it help people? Did it help a lot of people with their issues? Did it help someone? Did they gain something from it? You see what I'm saying? Because that's how I feel fulfilled by doing this. That's why I'm so willing to do it for free. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to go over and beyond. Like we've had people with issues and we would download products in order to test issues. Like I'm willing to do those kind of things because I enjoy helping people. It's who I am. It's who I've always been. So as we get bigger and bigger and bigger and help more and more people, I don't want, you know, somebody to be like, oh man, I tried this and oh, you're wrong and you're stupid. And I can't believe you would do such a thing and all this and blah, 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 blah. This isn't meant for somebody to be better than me or for me to be better than somebody. It's meant for you to grow and learn. You see what I'm saying? I want people to be better than me. I want you to be better than what you learn from. And the same person as my mentor wanted me to be better than him, I want you to be better than me. The exact same situation. So I just want to let everybody know that there are no peeing contests here, but we are vain. So we will take our W's and applauses because, you know, it's better than getting L's. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to the next one. Though, to be fair, we haven't had an assist trophy in like a week. So I feel like an assist trophy is coming up. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Expression. Okay, so this is, have we already worked this issue? No, this is a new one. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so this is from Long Jumping. It is a repeat, but it's a new question because we haven't worked it yet. And he said, okay, Xbox controller won't connect to my PC via Bluetooth. And I'm having this problem that I can't connect my Xbox controller via Bluetooth, but the USB works perfectly. Okay. I've already tried to update my controller through the Xbox Accessories app and update. Okay, I remember this. We were trying to figure out what he was talking about because he kept talking about Bluetooth in your Xbox, and he opened it up in hardware, but we didn't know if he was talking about PC or an actual console. And we said, okay, sounds like you may have issue with the Bluetooth on the PC. I would say go to updated advanced option updates and see if there's a Bluetooth update to install under drivers. Xboxes are not Bluetooth. They need an adapter for PC. What? I remember this. What? So Xbox controllers and the Elite controllers, newer models do have Bluetooth. Is this the customer who said that? No. Do have Bluetooth and do have Bluetooth. So Xbox controllers and the Elite controllers, newer models, do have Bluetooth. However, they can also connect via a USB dongle or wired. This is absolutely true. So for example, like these Xbox controllers here, they connect by Bluetooth by default. But they can also connect via the dongle, and you just pair the Bluetooth with the dongle. But it doesn't make it, okay, it doesn't say it makes it Wi-Fi. It doesn't make it Wi-Fi. It's still Bluetooth. It's just that it's Bluetooth to the dongle, and that works a little bit better. Well, okay, maybe I don't know what the signal is if we're talking about the dongle itself. I feel like it might be 2.4 gig, but it's hard for me to say if it's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But it may be Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and it does Wi-Fi when you have the USB adapter plugged in, and it's Bluetooth whenever you have it going directly to the computer. Either way, you can hook it up via Bluetooth to a PC. I do it all the time. So Xbox controllers and the Elite controllers, newer models, do have Bluetooth. However, they can also connect via USB dongle or wired. Now, the older models did require a USB dongle. But this is true. At one point in time, you did require a USB dongle in order to use your Xbox controller, like those ones that were for PC. However, the Xbox Elites, as well as the newer Xbox controllers, like when we bought the Xbox Series X, all those guys connect to Bluetooth, no problem. And some of these other ones that I bought that are older, like for example, which screen am I on? I'm so sorry. I was pointing to the wrong camera. This controller, or this controller, they both don't really have problems. They connect via Bluetooth just fine. I mean, so it isn't Wi-Fi. It's most definitely Bluetooth. Alrighty, long jumping bid. Keep us posted. So let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Okay, refresh. Oh, Ayaneo. Okay, it's Ayaneo next generation. Or I'm sorry, is Ayaneo next worth getting if I have a Steam Deck? And I said, so for this one, upgrading would help as you would get a full-blown version of Windows. However, if you're not in a hurry, then it may be better to wait and see what the ROG Ally is going to shape up to be. That way you have options. 60 Hz versus 120 is a big deal, even if I can run it it can run at 90 FPS, since you play shooters and sports. Yeah, this man straight up plays shooters and sports. He doesn't play anything else. He plays FIFA 2023, Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 3. And he said, I bought the OXP Mini Pro and it runs FIFA 23 on Ultra in 43 FPS and 720p. I am impressed. Yeah. What's this one? I've never heard of this one. OXP Mini Pro. Oh, 1X player. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so for those of you who aren't aware, the 1X player is another alternative to the Ayaneo and all the others. And what's actually cool about this one here is that it's actually offset, which is something that I wanted. I didn't know how much I wanted it until I saw it on other consoles. I'm like, oh man, I totally missed that offset. But it is another one that you can go with here. I think the reason why I didn't is because of the specs. I think the specs I wasn't crazy about. I thought the Ayaneo 2 was stronger. But let's see here. 1X player. Okay, one, and it also, I believe it has a bigger screen, but this is a Core i7. Core i7? Okay, what about the Ryzen one? Let's see real quick here while it's on my mind. So this is a Ryzen 6800U. So it has the exact same thing, and it's the exact same price point. Well, not necessarily. So basically the 16 gig model with the 500 gig 12 gig NVMe is $1099, whereas this one is $1149. And it's 2 terabyte 32 gig model, which is this big one here, it's the same price. Oh, and it detaches. Oh, just like the Switch. Check that out. That's pretty cool. So it does detach the controllers. So it kind of is just a panel. But I mean, hey, the One X player, I may actually get it just so we can troubleshoot it and have it and add it to our variety. But I don't really know how I feel about having two consoles that both have the exact same processor. I don't know if that's going to be too valuable for us, but it is interesting. And plus you can actually use it in tablet mode like a pen or a laptop, which is pretty sweet. So, you know, but I don't like this controller situation that it has going on here, but overall it looks really nice. So I get it for sure. I get it. And he's able to play 720p at 43 FPS, which sounds about right, because you get about at 1080p at medium to high settings, I get about 60, so somewhere in that area. So yeah, they should be almost identical because they use the exact same processor. Yep, those guys, the Ryzen 1 and the Ayaneo 2 use the same processor. So yeah, that guy is a beast. Hooray. I'm not even sure if that was an issue or anything, so we'll just go ahead and call it call it an assist trophy. About time. Did it do anything? There it is. Oh no, it doesn't do an assist trophy unless I'm doing an assist. There we go. Okay, we'll do it again just because I don't know if I did it right. Okay, because I was in the wrong screen. So there we go. Luka with the assist trophy. I need to see it. I need to compartmentalize. I need to see the basket going in the hoop so that I know that we did it right. Woo, okay, it's been forever since we had an assist trophy, but we'll take it. So yeah, that is an assist trophy. You know, can't really do anything if he decides to go with a 1X player or anything like that. But you know, we're just that's not our business whether or not he decides to or not. We're just trying to give him ideas on what he can go with and what his options are. Because he likes shooters, I think FPS is probably a little bit more important to him. So he may have been better off, you know. But at the same time, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do in these particular situations because 43 FPS at 720p, you're never going to be and with the 6800U. I just don't see how you're going to be at 120 anyway, even if you wanted to. I don't care which processor we're talking about. So, you know, I just don't see it happening. So, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Like, for example, if I take out this 4090 and just run it at the 7850X, there's no way in blue hell I'm running that game at 1080p 120 frames per second. You see what I'm saying? It probably won't happen. So I'm not too concerned about it. I just don't think that it would have that ability to, but you know, whatever. Still an assist trophy and we'll still take it. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Alrighty, so this is from Chesso, and this is a Nintendo question. What is your bedtime wind down game? Okay, well, I'm an adult, so I don't have a bedtime, but okay. No, I totally have a bedtime. I'm also old, so I do have a bedtime. Writing this before going to sleep, I usually just watch random videos on my iPad, iPhone before closing my eyes, and it's been a minute since I played a game before going to bed. I consider most of my games as action-packed and would prefer not to have adrenaline rushing through me before going to bed. Do you have a wind down game? I don't really wind down. Like I don't have an up or a down state. I just have a me state. Like I don't like, okay, I know there are a lot of people that kind of go ebb and flow, right? And I'm not talking about, you know, any type of personality traits. I'm just talking, or disorders, if you want to call it that. There's a joke in there, but I'm not talking about any of that, right? There's a really good joke in there, but what I'm actually just referring to is that I typically don't ebb and flow. I'm just like this, right? I don't do anything. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything to rise or fall. So I just kind of am on point at all times. Me personally, if I'm at night and I want to play a video game, I typically play games that have no ending. So like Genshin Impact or Lost Ark or WoW or something like that. Now I haven't played WoW in forever, but those are the kind of games that I typically enjoy playing because I like competitive raids and competitive multiplayer for some reason. I don't know why. And this is what drew me to Overwatch when it first came out. Like Overwatch was like one of those games, right? Where when it first came out, I was so excited to play Overwatch, even though Bastion was so overpowered. But I liked playing it because I liked the idea of playing as a team, and a support role was still there. And they had to be a healer and all that kind of jazz, right? So I was like, oh man, I'm loving this game, and I love playing the support aspect of it. And then it's like you get into competitive, and it is the most toxic thing you can possibly do because Overwatch has an incredibly toxic environment. So now it's like, I like playing competitive multiplayers, but I hate being on chat. I don't like having conversations. I don't like peeing contests. We just talked about that. I don't like any of that. I don't like any of this. I don't like anything that brings me down, right? If you're trying to bring somebody down, or if you're trying to bring somebody down because they're not playing properly, even though I'm actually really, really good. Well, okay, I'm not really, really good. I'm pretty good. I'm like diamond, right? So I'm not like the best or the worst. I'm pretty good. So if people, like, if you do one thing, like you miss a pin, you miss a counter pin, something like that, or you get hit with an ult that you should have been able to dodge, or something may have happened, or you misplaced the Ana and you had the shield up to protect you from a diva bomb and she slept you and you blew up and killed the whole team. So, you know, those kind of things that you just kind of miss, you know, those things can really hurt you, and they'll just be like, oh, you're so terrible. Get off tank. You're awful. You're awful. Okay, why don't you play tank and I'll play DPS? No. I'm not doing all that. I just want you to play better because you suck right now. You know, those kind of things that I don't like. I don't like anything bringing down my flow. You know what I mean? So I like competitive multiplayer and competitive rating, but I don't like toxic communities. So I don't play on chats and stuff like that. And but with competitive raids, you don't really run into that. You don't really run into a whole lot of angry people, you know, trying to get a raid, unless you're talking about like nightmares, like nightmare dungeons and stuff like that. So that's usually what I do to wind down. I typically like going with competitive games that I can get in and out of and play a few rounds and then just go from there. So I don't know why, but it's just, I don't even consider it adrenaline pumping. I just like being needed, I guess is the best way to say it. I like people depending on me, whether it's support and me trying to save somebody, or it's tank and me trying to protect somebody. I just like being depended upon. I guess that's the best way to look at it. And that is your answer. So me personally, I enjoy multiplayer, shooters, and raids to wind down. Something about being needed. I may need therapy. LOL. Yeah, something about that whole being needed and wanting to protect others kind of thing that I just still kind of hold on to. So yeah, what did everybody else say? Well, second the recommendation for Dorfromantic, probably the chillest game I've ever played. Well, you haven't played Stardew Valley, or what's that other game that's on the Nintendo? Oh God, it's like where you like collect animals. Oh, Animal Crossing. Yeah, that's it. I can't even remember the name, and it's like, oh yeah, you know the one with animals and like they like cross the street. Animal Crossing? Like, how long did it take you to figure that out? But yeah, I figured it out. But yes, Animal Crossing. Those games are really low key. But I've never played whatever he's talking about. Stardew Valley. Yep, I knew Stardew Valley was gonna be in there, man. You cannot talk about chill and not talk about Stardew Valley. Even though I have yet to play it, I know a whole lot about Stardew Valley. Story of Seasons, Atelier, Power / Simulator. My crazy, but Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and Warzone. Animal Crossing. Yep. Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley is what I figured most people would say. All right, let's go and go to the next one here. Ooh, well, aren't you a beaut? Look at that. That is pretty. And that is a 4090 or a 4080. But no, it's a 4090, yeah. 4090 with 150i Elite. Man, that is some serious cooling. 26 degrees. I don't care if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit. It's still really good. Regardless of what you want to measure that in, that is still amazing. Fans, that really is all that needs to be said here. Yeah, this is incredibly pretty. You know how much, okay, the fans alone are 100, 200. Okay, well, this thing right here is like 250. 100, 200, about $250 in fans, plus another $250 in the cooler. That's 500 right there off the bat. So yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I'm saying it's crazy as I have a very similar build. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I can't believe someone would do something so crazy as that. Not like I don't have the exact same build. Though I'm a little upset that he was able to run 4 sticks of RAM when I can't, because he's running a 13900K, and a 13900K can actually run 4 sticks even at nerf speeds, whereas Ryzen has problems and it nerfs it to the ground. It turns into DDR4. It's so low of a speed, so it's not even worth it. So yeah, it's a problem. The fact that he can get 5600 megahertz with 4 sticks is insane. Like I could never do that, but you know, actually we probably say that the fact that you can get 5600 megahertz with 4 sticks is actually insane. My 7950X gripes about 6000 megahertz on 2 sticks. LOL. Yeah, the fact that he can go that high with 4 sticks is crazy. Like if you try, like I think it's like in the 3s or the low 4s that you get whenever you have 4 sticks of DDR5 with Ryzen. For some reason, man, it really hates going 4 sticks. Hopefully the BIOS will get better to the fact that it can support 4 sticks, but right now I still have mine at 2 just because of this entire issue. But overall, no shade here. I mean, that's still an excellent case and an excellent build, and I really like this 4090. I've always liked it, but it's one of the bigger ones. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here, and let's go here because it's all text. Why can't I connect to Xbox Network? On my home PC, it's telling me to connect to my Xbox Network and I can't open games, but when I click on it, it tells me the connection is good. And I said, all right, so what happens if you connect your Xbox directly to your router? Does the Xbox Network work then? What happens if you go to settings, network, test multiplayer settings? What does it say? He says, I don't have an Ethernet cable to connect directly to the router, and when I test multiplayer, it says it's working fine, but it continues to tell me Xbox connect to the Xbox Network. Okay, well, find an Ethernet cable. Are you able to find an Ethernet cable that is going to something else? Or are you saying that you literally don't have access to Ethernet? There's a reason why I'm saying this. Yo, Inatsu, oh my God. My man, Inatsu, how have you been? No, long time no see. I still buy PCs with no light, saving up for AM5 motherboard, new PC build. Hey, if you do, be sure to go with 2 sticks because 4 sticks is awful. Oh my God. I lost like 2 days of my life because of 4 sticks. I'm glad to see you're doing well, my man. Are you able to find an Ethernet cable that is going to something else? Or are you saying that you literally don't have access to Ethernet? Yeah, okay, that's the reason for why we were saying that, right? Because in certain situations, right, he may be in a situation where his like landlord controls the Wi-Fi and he doesn't have access to it. So we had to take those things in consideration without actually just straight up asking him, you know what I mean? Because we like, it's hard to ask somebody like, hey, what's your situation? What's your living situation? How's your router connected? That kind of thing. It's better for him to just straight up tell us himself, and then we go from there, because you don't want to pry on a man's business kind of thing. So that's the reason why we're asking it this way. Yeah, doing good. We'll upgrade router soon, also for the Wi-Fi 6 speeds. I get that. The Ayaneo 2 that we were talking about earlier today, that has Wi-Fi 6. What was crazy? Oh my God. What was crazy? At Starbucks, okay, so now there was a Starbucks that's near my cable provider, right? So I was testing this guy, the Ayaneo 2, right? I was testing this guy because I was getting ready to do a review. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do the review, but I was testing it to see what its capabilities were, those kind of things. Do you know when I had this connected to my phone, actually, I was getting 800 megabits per second down on 5G. That is freaking insane. When I had it to Starbucks, it was like 50. But whenever I put it to my phone, it was 800 megabits per second down. That's how close I was to my cable provider or my phone provider. And because of that, man, my speeds were insane on 5G. On 5G, my guy. That was insane, bro. I'm sitting here playing Call of Duty multiplayer, eating a scone at Starbucks. Like, okay. You know, it's just the cool things that you can do with these kind of products. And you can also throw the Steam Deck in there as well. It's really, really awesome, and where we've come in life. Like, to be able to be sitting there chilling with like a coffee or whatever and playing a game as if you were at home and be perfectly content. Like, that is really cool. So yeah. fun story there. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. It's not the last one. We still got one more group left. All right, so with him, we'll do this. Are you able to find Ethernet cable that is going to something else, or are you saying that you literally don't have access to Ethernet? Yeah, no, we can't proceed. We need to know this. So yeah, once we know this, we can move forward, because we need to know exactly how his internet is connected up. Because if he just doesn't have an Ethernet cable, then it may be in his better interest just to go ahead and purchase one. Because if we're looking at between an Ethernet cable and, you know, like a router or something like that, he's going to want it wired anyway, because he's trying to connect to multiplayer. So I think that it would be in his better interest, and it'll be cheaper for him to go with the Ethernet cable anyway. I get that he doesn't want to use one, but if he has the ability to, he should go ahead and try, because that's going to be cheaper than going Ethernet or power or something crazy. So I would go with that, and then just kind of go from there. So we need to know exactly what's happening in order for us to move forward. CMOS, okay. So this is swimming through a daze, locating CMOS on a Dell G15. We were talking about this, man. This man has a laptop, a Dell G15 5511, and he's trying to figure out where the CMOS battery is. But we were like, man, nobody's going to know that without actually having it, you know? And, but I think somebody made me feel stupid. There was still completely black, but we'll see. I think so, because I just realized it had like 34 comments. So with this one, do you get a picture if you connect the laptop to an external display, or is it a black screen? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think I may have said the wrong thing. So I just upgraded my RAM from 16 to 64, and the screen is black. There is a power light indicator, not blinking, no beeps, just a black screen, but showing that the power is on. Yes, the RAM is correctly and fully installed. And he said that he was trying to figure out exactly what was happening. And he was trying to figure out where the CMOS was, but he couldn't locate it. Can anyone help? And then he said TLDR, upgraded RAM, black screen, tried everything besides resetting CMOS, and don't know where the CMOS battery is. And we were like, yeah, we don't know where that would be on this particular laptop. But we had a few questions. And I said, sorry, my PC died right before I started the tech support stream. This was 18 days ago. But it appears you were able to get the 16 gigs of RAM working. As others have said, that sounds like a limitation, but I would update the BIOS just to be on the safe side. Let us know how the removal of the XMP profile affects the other stick. Hey, I went through the entire advanced BIOS settings multiple times, and there is no XMP feature. Could it be somewhere else, or is there anything else you can think of that I can try? I got accepted from Crucial with an RMA to ship the module back that isn't working. Their website says my laptop model should be compatible with both of these 32 gigs of RAM modules, so I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I can try before I return it. Thanks. What is the other one called? It's XMP, and I think the other one's called DOCP. DOCP memory. I feel like it's DOCP. Yeah. Wow. Good job, Anthony. It may say DOCP instead of XMP, but essentially it will show your RAM sticks and their speed on the home screen of the BIOS. And this is true residential and commercial. If you go into the BIOS, the very first part will generally show you your memory. Now, of course, if we're talking about commercial and servers, it won't actually show the memory as if you can change it from there, but it will show it. So in almost all situations, the BIOS, the home screen, will usually show the memory. It may say DOCP instead of XMP, but essentially it will show your RAM sticks and their speed on the home screen of the BIOS and allow you to change the profile. You could also try to reset your BIOS to default to see if that works. Prior to the RMA, that is. All right, so let's just see what he says on that one here. It took him 18 days to respond, so I don't know if he's gonna respond, but we'll see how it goes. But swimming through a daze, keep us posted within the month. Within the month of April, that'd be appreciated. Yeah, doing good. Okay, cool. I'm making sure that we said everything and saw everything there. All right, let's go ahead and go to group 5 here. Hey, I found my old PSP. Jesus Christ. Can you guys say how much does this worth and any cool games I can get? Yes. How much it's worth? $1. How much? About $3.50. About 350. How you spell 50? About 350. There we go. You know how hard it is for me to misspell something? Like, okay, I can misspell something while typing it. However, if I'm trying to misspell it, then I won't misspell it. So it takes you like 20 minutes to type something that's misspelled as opposed to misspelling something that you know is spelled right. You know what I mean? So this right here, it took me so long to type because I don't know how to misspell something. Like I don't know how to misspell 50. Like I know it's 50. So I'm be like, okay, FITY. What about FIDDIE? No, that sounds stupid. But yes, it's 350, which is from South Park. Games. There's only one. Well, okay. Is there more than one? Yes. How many can I remember? None of them except Crisis Core. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7, and oh, there's another one. Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus. This one's over Vincent Valentine. So if we look, man, I'm old. Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that PS2? Maybe I thought it was on PSP. Yeah, it was. Oh, no. Oh, that's on, okay, it's on IGN, so it has to be legit, right? But no, I wasn't trying to download the game. I was just trying to see it. But yeah, okay. So Dirge of Cerberus was on Final Fantasy. Okay, Final Fantasy 7. Okay, I'm not going crazy. But yeah, Dirge of Cerberus. So Dirge of Cerberus was a game that came out. It's PlayStation 2, but I thought it was on PSP as well. I could be wrong, but that was one of the games I was thinking of. And obviously, Crisis Core got renewed recently, so there's no point in showing it. I mean, obviously, it's just Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core. You can get those on the PS5 or the PS4 right now. The actual Crisis Core. Dirge of Cerberus, I'm not sure about. But generally, when it comes to Final Fantasy games, I only play them once and then never again. But yeah, and Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus. But those are the only two that I remember. Like, the PSP was a really good console, but I got into it so late, I never got a chance to really play anything. Because you gotta understand, that guy was like ahead of its time. It was running at 540p, I believe, as well as, you know, it had like very, very good quality compared to like the Game Boy Advance and all the stuff that was around at that time. It was so ahead of its time. And now we're going back to it with like consoles and handhelds and so on and so forth, which is crazy. Like if it was released now, it'd be like revolutionary, but instead the title went to the Steam Deck, which is twice its size, but you know, whatever. PSP though, you will be missed. You're still very, very cool, bro. Oh my God, he even has a memory stick. That's pretty cool. Motorstorm. Yep, that's a game. All right, let's go and go to the next one here. All right, so this is from Twice Ashery? Twice. We'll just go with Twice. Please help. I can't download previously downloaded games. We talked about this. I feel like I went to Rocket League, but we'll see what they say. Let's go ahead and open this and go like this and then go like this so everybody can see. Is there sound? No. Cannot add the download. Okay, so he's just unable to download the game. I think we tried and we were able to download it. If you go to System Storage Games and Apps, is it here? If so, you should be able to uninstall, reinstall. I'll explain this. So we ran into a person that told us this, and we didn't know because, you know, I don't really game on the Xbox, right? So what they were saying was sometimes whenever you go to the store, and let's say you buy some game or whatever. So let's just say, I don't know, Call of Duty or whatever. So let's say you buy this game or you buy Hulu or Netflix or something like that. And of course those are free, but if you get those games and you download them, or you get those apps and you download them, sometimes they may not show up here for some reason, but that's because it is located in your games and apps. So you want to make sure that you come here just to make sure that they are here. So this is what he had taught me, like a person who had answered the question. It's a case that we took an L on, right? So we took an L and we reflected. And in the reflection, we found a person who explained to us what we needed to look for. So now we told this person that's where he would need to look. So that's what ended up happening here. And so he said, and that's what we said there, and that's the reason why we said that. He said, this I think would work. Also, he may have to recertify his license by restoring his purchases from previous console. Oh, he hasn't actually answered. Somebody answered me for his reply. Okay, gotcha. So this is, let me see, twice. Did he reply to anybody? No, maybe. So, okay. This I think would work. Try rebuilding databases where have you tried this? From my reply earlier, where are you on this issue? Can you give us an update? Yeah, I don't know where he's at, you know? I'm not sure exactly what's going on. He replied to a couple people, but it's kind of hard to say exactly what he's talking about or where he's at right now. If he's tried anything, there's no real way to know. So just give us an update on where you are, bro, and we can continue from here. But yeah, it kind of happens like that, you know, whenever you make a post and somebody replies to the reply to the reply or the reply. So, you know, just let us know what happens, or if you have any questions, just, you know, reach out to us. Obviously we can help. And it's kind of what we do. So just let us know. All right, so we're gonna go to the next one here. Max screen. He says, me trying out games on max settings. You good? And my PC, no. This one is nuts. You made a joke. You made a funny. But yeah, I get this, especially when you're trying, like, I know people that to this day, they still be trying to run their 1080 Ti and be trying to run 4K Ultra on the 1080 Ti's and be like, 1080 Ti's having a hard time of it. It's like at 85 degrees or 88 degrees. And they're like, you'll be okay. Just put some dirt on it. It'll be fine. How I feel about running my 1080 Ti at 4K max settings. LOL. Watching my 1080 Ti die on me brings back memories. Me trying Portal with RTX 11 to 50 FPS at 720. Portal RTX brings my 3080 to its knees. Yeah, I heard a lot about Portal, well, just in general on the RTX or the Portal RTX, but I haven't actually tried it. But now I kind of want to, because they said it's the FPS is so low, but you know, whatever. All right, this is for automatic clicks and it's just all text, so you can go back to that. Okay. My PS5 keeps having this issue where it cannot turn off and it won't respond. Any permanent fixes? So my PS5 is having this problem where nothing is responding and the PS5 won't turn off. The only way to turn the console off is to long press the button after 15 seconds or so. The console will finally turn off. Okay, well, to be fair, that is how the console turns off. Really, it doesn't really turn off unless you hit shutdown from within the app or you put it to sleep. So my theory is whenever I go to a person's profile that has thousands and thousands of games, a lot of stuff won't load and eventually the console won't turn off or anything, and then it won't respond. I went to this person's profile called Hakum. He is basically a massive trophy hunter and he has thousands of games and platinums. And whenever I go to the mutual games section, some stuff like that, his games won't load when I'm scrolling. Then eventually a lot of things just won't load. Then my console won't be able to turn off or respond. This happens every time too. This usually happens a lot when I also have a game open. Is this normal? And is there a permanent fix? Okay, so my PS5, okay, the dude's name is Hakum. So let's try, I guess. Where's the PlayStation 5? Here it is. Okay, let's see here. So he was trolling somebody. Hold on, how do you add friends? Friends. No. Okay. Obviously, I don't use the PS5 enough to actually have. Let's see here. I think it's this. No. Is it this one? No. Okay. Okay, that's not good. Profile. Let's see. Sound, screen, accessories, notifications. You know what? It's been so long since I've added a that I don't remember where to go. Hold up. Okay, it's not in the game library. It's not PlayStation Plus. It's not Explore. Okay. Okay. So essentially, him going through people's trophies like this, right? And that's where he runs into problems. So I think you have to add them as friends in order to see people's trophies. Wasn't there a way? Search, maybe. Players. There we go. What was it? Hakum? H-A-K-O-O. All right, let's break our pieces, break our stuff here. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna assume that this is the person we're talking about. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. This man has 53,623 gold trophies. I have like 8. But I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Man, he's 64% in Ghost of Tsushima. This man is slacking. Horizon Forbidden West, he's at 95%. Path of Exile, he's at 4%. So I got him there. Oh no. Oh, okay. So it's comparing me versus him. Actually, he's doing better than me in Path of Exile because I don't play on the PS4. Okay. Oh my God, he 100% God of War Ragnarok, and I'm only at 84%. Okay, now I'm getting mad. Yo, I take offense to that. I thought I did everything in God of War Ragnarok, but apparently not. Last of Us Part 2, I was just ready to be done with it. Demon Souls, I was also ready to be done with that too. Mostly because the boss was so anticlimactic, but I'm guessing there's more to do in that game too. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Okay, I think we both feel the same way about that. I haven't had a chance to get to it. Neo 2. Okay, I thought I was really good at Neo 2, so I'm kind of hurt about that. So apparently for him, his issue, whenever he's scrolling down and it's loading, man, this man plays some games, bro. When I tell you this man plays some games, he plays some games. Look at this. This is cray and awesome at the same time. But I mean, it doesn't freeze up or anything. Okay, so mine doesn't freeze up when going through his games. So I'm guessing his situation is his Wi-Fi connectivity that's making him freeze, and then he's trying to back out. But if you hear, like, I can hear myself scrolling, and I can hear there's latency there. So I'm guessing what may be happening with him is that it's freezing as he's kind of pressing the down arrow to go to the games, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he's doing what we're doing here and is trying to keep up, but is having problems trying to keep up, and therefore is creating latency, and then he tries to back out after he's already committed to pressing the down button, or at least holding it down, and maybe that's what's causing him to freeze. So if we go back here and answer his question. So we looked up this Hakum profile on stream. Jesus. Jesus. His trophies are what dreams are made of. LOL. But as we were scrolling, I noticed a bit of lag. So it's possible your issue may have been caused. And he said he was also doing it while playing the game. So let's do that real quick. Okay, remember how we got here. Okay, let's just open up a quick game here. That was from search, right? All right, so let's just open up let's do Final Fantasy. Come on now, we ain't got all day. We got like 4 other people to help, or 2 or 3 or something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll just do this. Aw, I love that song. Okay, in any event, back to work. All right, so hold, long hold, and then do a search. Players, search, our guy Hakum, K-O-O-M, and here, and his ridiculous amount of trophies, which is freaking awesome, and scroll. It's slower. I give him that. It's slower, but it works. It's just he may have latency. Okay, cool. We just wanted to make sure that we were doing the same thing that he was doing. So it's possible your issue may have been caused by network latency. Is your PS5 on Wi-Fi? If so, could you plug it directly into the router? Also, be sure to reboot the PS5 and check for updates. I'm not taking an L from a reboot of a PS5, so I'm putting it here regardless. I don't care if this man has already rebooted, and I don't care if I offend him. I'm okay with it, but I'm not taking an L from another reboot. I'm sorry. We've taken way too many L's from reboots, and it's not going to happen again. So yeah, that's what I would say for this one here. Essentially, what you really want to say is plug directly into a router and see if that makes a difference, because we didn't run into a problem. We had a game that was up, even though we weren't playing it, but it was a game that was up, and then we went in there, and then we did see some latency there happening, but we were still able to scroll. But my PS5 is on Wi-Fi, but my speeds are really good. So I'm thinking that he just may have a latency issue, because their PS5s are all the same. It just depends on the network connectivity. So that's what I would say for him. So automatic clicks, keep us posted. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Alrighty, so this is from Foreign Food, and Foreign Food writes, help. I wanted to play some game in this summer, but my PS3 doesn't work, but it works fine on my friend's TV. Oh, okay, this is a guy with the PS3, and we were trying to remember what happened with PS3 and why it was a thing. Okay, is there anything good after this? Oh, yes, there is. Okay. So help please, but my PS3 doesn't work, but it works fine on my friend's TV. So we've been going back and forth about this, and I said, okay, so first things first, what you want to do is go into the settings of the PS3 while it's at your friend's house, and go into settings display here, change the resolution to 720 60 frames per second, then take it home, hook it up to your Hisense TV, see if you get the picture when you hit yes. If you do, then bump it up to 1080p 60 frames per second. But I feel like we already answered this question. Just let me refresh real quick here. View all comments. Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, we already did answer him. Okay, cool. He was our first question, I believe. Alrighty, and this is gonna be the last one for today. We'll probably have a little bit more longer ones later on, but this actually turned out pretty well, even though we did one less group. Typically we do one more group and we end up somewhere around 9:15, but we're doing one less group because I got to do my taxes. So last picture here is going to be this guy. Just got a new GPU, super excited to finally be able to get 60 FPS in Odell Down Under in Oregon Trail. Yo, Oregon Trail. No, Oregon Trail was Mac, wasn't it? Yo, Super Mario Bros at 60p is about to be lit. Is that what the kids say these days? Lit? I feel like that's still a thing. Yo, Super Mario Brothers, is Yo still a thing? I've been a nerd for too long. I feel like Yo is still a thing. I feel like Yo is still a thing. Okay. I feel like Yo is okay. Okay, we'll just go with that. I don't know. I'm sure some teenager will correct me, but Yo, Super Mario Brothers 3 at 60p is about to be lit. Okay. Does that not say I'm 40? I feel like that does say I'm 40, but I'm okay with it because we're talking about an 8800 GTS. You know how old this card is? You know how much dust that is? This thing has seen wars, and that amount of dust has been like the dust of your ancestors. Like, that thing is old, like really, really old. So hey, I mean, a 15-year-old card, I get it. So yeah, but Super Mario Brothers 3 is about to be lit. Then it should run Crisis. It did, but not 60 FPS. Yeah, I don't think so. More like 6, but okay, sure. Wow, Blast from the Past. I had an EVGA 9800 GTX. Mine was a GTX 570 2.5 gig, if we're talking about cards of that century. I think before that, it was... I used to know it. Oh, oh, God. It's not the 570. Or maybe it was. I went the 570, and then I went the 660 Ti. So that gives you an idea of kind of where I was when I actually started buying an expensive graphics card. Was the 570 2.5 gigs. So yeah, I guess that would be like 13 years ago. This is before that, so there you go. Alrighty, and that's gonna be the end of group 5 here, and that is gonna finish things up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be on tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. It shouldn't take me long to do my taxes. I'm pretty sure I'm okay. And if you like this video, go ahead and like button. If you really like it, go ahead and subscribe. I love you either way. Take care, all the best, and bye. I will see you tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Peace.